What a difference a day makes. Holy. So last Wednesday, I recorded a video. I ended up monologuing for over an hour into this camera to talk about the future of Arkham Horror, the card game, and Marvel Champions, and sort of try to bring some optimism to the conversation because there was a lot of doom and gloom and the game is dying kind of talk from social media, other content creators, etc. I published it on Thursday. A lot of you watched it. Thank you. Appreciated your comments. A lot of you shared your thoughts. Some agreed, some disagreed. Some of you just hit the like button. Appreciated all of that. And then Friday, bombshell. Fantasy Flight had been teasing an announcement for Arkham Horror, and people were assuming that it would be the next campaign. But it was not. They announced Arkham Horror, the card game, Chapter 2, starting with a new core set that is going to provide a new backbone to sort of the new card pool going forward. And that just changed and reframed so much of the situation and the future of the game that I couldn't help but turn the camera back on and record another video kind of sharing my thoughts and my reaction to it, and just if you are unfamiliar with the announcement, what it is. So I promise this one will be shorter, but yeah, I wanted to circle back since this changed so much about what I was talking about just the other day. By the way, I'm Brandon. This is mostly my YouTube channel, Optimal Play. It's actually a variety board gaming channel that's a playthrough focus. So we have playthroughs going right now of the Regicide Legacy campaign. We're constantly playing a lot of Guards of Atlantis. I'm taking a look soon at Storybook Wilds. So Storyfold Wildwoods. I always get the title of that game wrong. It's awesome though. So anyway, check out the channel if that sounds interesting. But among all that, Arkham Horror, the card game, is my favorite game. So it does have an outsized presence on the channel. We have dozens of videos, both reviewing cards and playing the game. So hopefully if you're just stumbling on this channel, you find that interesting and would decide to subscribe. Okay, so last video I was drinking beer. It is Sunday morning now, so I popped an energy drink. You know, always got to drink something that's good for me. All right, so on Friday, on their live stream, and then immediately with an article posted on their website that you can go see, they Fantasy Flight announced the Chapter 2 core set for Arkham Horror, the card game. The last video was sort of about Marvel Champions also. I'll point out there have been no announcements for Marvel. This has fueled a lot of speculation that it will have a new core set, and I think that would be a great decision for that game too. But for the rest of this video, we're just talking about Arkham because that's the announcement. So, Chapter 2 core set is a brand new full core set for the game, including 5 investigators, just like the previous core set. Seems like 100-ish player cards, you know, a good hand, plenty to build a deck of each class. And a new 3-scenario kind of introductory campaign that hopefully will feel more modern than Night of the Zealot, which feels very old and was maybe not great in every way to begin with, but should also serve as an on-ramp to the game because this is the new starting product. And so this core set is compatible with everything in the past. And that's a decision that I think was a very good one. I think that a lot of players who have been collecting over these years or have even part of the collection really want this new stuff to be compatible with that. But it is the first entry with that current environment ethos we were talking about last time, where these are not necessarily designed with those in mind. You might see some broken combinations of cards, for example. You might also see that some of the investigators in this core box are new versions of the same investigators that we had before. New abilities, maybe even they changed what class they are, that kind of stuff. But I expect that the unique rule means that those 2 investigators now can't be on the same team together. You can't have 2 Joe Diamonds at your table. I don't actually know for a fact what the rule will be on that, but I would expect so. So there's a little bit of wonkiness in the way that it is compatible, but should be generally compatible. And then going forward, the core set is actually going to be, for the campaigns going forward, this new core set is going to be required because it is going to have encounter sets in it that, much like the old core set, future campaigns will use, but they're going to use the new encounter sets from the Chapter 2 core set. Hopefully, maybe not. Actually, I don't know if Ancient Evils is behind us. It's such a straightforward card that serves such an obvious design purpose of providing some uncertainty to the length of the game. I wouldn't be surprised if Ancient Evil is reprinted. I saw people on Reddit celebrating that it might be gone. I'm not so sure. But I definitely hope that Frozen in Fear, Locked Door, some of those just annoying treacheries, and they're just samey that we've been seeing for literally 9 years in just about every campaign. I'm very excited to leave those in the dust. We saw some of in the announcement article. I confess I was working. It was the middle of the day on Friday. I didn't watch the live stream. So I don't know if they showed the cards there too, if you were to go look at that. But they did preview 9 or 10 player cards from the core set. They look very basic. They look very staple-y. But you see a few signs like the new, it's called... shoot, I can't remember. It's Sharp Rhetoric, something like that. There's a new Seeker talent, for example, where just like the old core set talent, you can spend a resource to buff a skill for one test. It works on intellect and willpower, but crucially, it gives you +2 per resource spent if you are investigating or parlaying. And what I see in that is a big nudge towards more clearly defined class roles. Like I've complained a lot in our card reviews and stuff that I think that games where classes are very distinct from each other and a team of 2 players that is like red and purple will play very differently from one that is yellow and green. And I don't really feel like Arkham Horror has always nailed that. And what I see in the core set cards is a big... I don't know how to say big. We've only seen like 9 cards, and not all of them really include what I'm talking about. But you see some signs that they are using this opportunity to sort of reboot the classes and more clearly define their strengths and weaknesses, and I'm really excited about that. So you can check out those preview cards. I think I'm going to maybe talk about my thoughts on those cards more in detail in some YouTube shorts. I'm just very excited and want to make stuff. So you know, you can if you're a YouTube short scroller, you might see me there talking about some of them. So yeah, I'm extremely excited about this. I think this is just what the game needed, and in fact, I called it last January. I had to dig it up. It was unfortunately in a DM with friend of the channel Case, but I called exactly this thing, that there would be a new core set that was sort of a soft reboot of Arkham Horror, that it would be compatible with the old cards, but it would be a fresh start to the game and work standing alone going forward. I even expected them to be a little bit more ambitious with things like potentially skipping to another time period, you know? Maybe it's in the Cold War or something, but I just think I have that in my head from Welcome to Derry, the new It show on HBO, but I would have actually loved them to be even more ambitious with something like that, but still, I think that they made the right call, and I'm super excited to see it, and you know, to gloat that I was correct, even if it was to one person in a DM. So yeah, on what's changing with the game, let me start with that time period. So it is still set in the 20s, but it did fast forward a few months in the storyline, like after the events of the Drowned City, which actually I confess I haven't finished. You can see that we have a Drowned City blind play series on the channel right now, so I will have finished it soon. I'm not sure what those events are, but my understanding is that they sort of put a period on the end of a sentence that makes sense to sort of time skip ahead after that. But the time skip is only a few months, and what that means is that some characters have evolved or changed based on the experiences that they've had in kind of previous campaigns, or more likely, I think, in the novels and novellas, because one of the investigators that was talked about in the article, not even shown, but was Isabella Barnes, the Izzy that Jenny Barnes in back in the Dunnage Legacy cycle was searching for. Her weakness, I think, was even called Searching for Izzy. Now, Izzy Barnes is going to be the new survivor, and Jenny Barnes is lost somewhere, and Izzy is searching for her. And it's been years since I read the Jenny novella, back in those original 5 novellas, but I think that is what happened, was she kind of sacrificed herself to save Izzy. Like I said, it's been years. Don't hold me to that. But it seems to me like they've taken that novella and kind of made it canon and moved forward with that in the game. And that actually is kind of cool, because that might give some more motivation to go back and read some more of those books that I haven't read, maybe you haven't either, to get the new framing for the new chapter of the game. If that's something that they're doing more universally, I think that's cool. And then we can also see on the cards that they've updated some templating for the cards. Like, for example, anytime that you see a bolded action keyword now, like fight or investigate, it's going to say in parentheses after it what skill you're testing for that action. So it won't just say fight on a gun anymore. It will say fight parentheses combat. Or instead of saying, like we saw a new rogue gun that looks like this, instead of saying fight, use agility instead of combat for this test, it's just going to say fight parentheses agility. Which I think is a great change. It saves like a full line of text on these cards that there are so many of in the game. And I'm also just, that's the main detail that stood out to me, but I'm really excited to see that they are taking this moment to take kind of a step back and like, how can the game be improved? How can it be templated better? Maybe there are some rules changes that I wouldn't mind, some simplified timings, that kind of thing. Maybe if some enemy keywords were changed a little bit. You know, there's always been some issues with spawn and prey and some of those keywords. You know, it wouldn't bother me at all if they took sort of a pass on those, with the understanding that it's not going to be anything all that major because it's going to be compatible with the previous content, right? So, but that's really exciting. I wish that they had gone a little further in some ways. Like, I would actually love if the game had a graphic overhaul, if the frames were updated. It doesn't look like they were. Particularly, I would love if they would have changed events to put the goddamn card name at the top of the card so that when you're flicking through your deck or your collection, you can see what they are. It has always driven me insane that the card name is in the center of the card for some reason, which is the single hardest place to see it. But anyway. Yeah, so I think that would have been cool to kind of draw that line between chapters a little bit more. I wouldn't change the card backs. Again, you want it to be compatible for the players who want to do that. But I would have loved to see even kind of bigger swings in that respect. And then, we don't know, maybe there are some other kind of new evergreen things in the box. Like, I speculated that, like, if you're trying to make the classes more unique from each other, this box would be the perfect time to include a new type of chaos token that Mystic cards use. I don't know what it would do, but if you include it in the core set, it could be something that not every purple card would use by any means, but that some of them would use in certain ways. I think that would be cool, and this would be a great opportunity. We don't know whether it's happening. I wouldn't bet on it. I know it's a new core set. They're going to want to keep things simple, but it would be neat to take this opportunity to include a few new mechanics that then future expansions can run with because it's in this new core. Kind of the last thing on my mind is one thing that I talked a lot about last video was the current versus legacy environment and how I expected to kind of handle that. And really, I mused that I thought that the next few years were going to be really rough for that because what the content we see in 2026 would be in the current environment based on the vague things that we were told with like Hemlock and Drowned City, the 2024 and 2025 boxes, but they would not be designed holistically to be one small card pool together. It would be these expansions that were all designed to expand the big card pool, suddenly arbitrarily cut down. And I thought that would be like maybe a pretty bad experience, but this solves that for me. What I am almost definitely going to do, I reserve the right to change my mind as we get more info and see more of the content, but I'm almost definitely just going to draw a hard line after the Drowned City. Chapter 2, for me at least, is going to be a new collection of Arkham Horror the card game. I don't expect to take these cards and mix and match them with the old ones personally. And that means that for a little while, I'll have a game that is essentially just a core set. And honestly, like, it's been 7 years since we last had sort of a fresh LCG experience from Fantasy Flight. That would be Marvel Champions, which came out in 2019, was it? So maybe 6 years. But that's fun. Like, have a young LCG figuring out a new card pool, like starting from scratch. That's super fun. I'm really, really excited to do that. And then eventually the card pool will grow over the next few years. And I think that the plan will still be, in 2029, the 2026 player card expansion, which we're getting one this year in addition to the core set. It will rotate out of current and we'll start getting that rotation. But in the meantime, just all of Chapter 2 will be its own card pool for me that's going to be fresh, redesigned, kind of clearly they've taken a step back and thought more holistically about some aspects of the game. I think that that's going to be by far the best experience, and I love that this new core set like addressed what I thought was going to be a big problem. It's like I have my answer. I'm not worried about that anymore. I'm just really excited. So I think that's it. Hey, I only went about 15 minutes instead of an hour this time. I just wanted to circle back on that and gush, I guess, about like I really strongly feel that this is a great thing for the game, and I'm super stoked to just have a fresh start on the game, fresh takes on kind of old everything from old specific characters to old player card archetypes, and just a whole new kind of set of campaigns with this new card pool to play with them. I guess I gotta end this sentence sometime. I'm just rambling at this point, but yeah, so stoked. I guess let me know in the comments, do you share my enthusiasm? I would say that it seemed like, unlike some of the previous Doom and Gloom, I felt like the reaction to this was generally positive. What I saw online, some people were a little disappointed to see a new product that they have to buy, mainly because of those encounter sets being used going forward, which it does go against a little bit that what is one of the highlights of an LCG, which is that you can pick and choose which products you want to buy and when. This one is more kind of mandatory if you want to play those new campaigns. But for me, the trade-off is worth it. Like refreshing those encounter sets and having not seeing locked doors for the 11th cycle in a row, like well worth it for me. To me, that's all upside. So anyway, yeah, let me know what you think. Those comments, those likes, the subscriptions to the channel, all appreciated. And we will definitely be back playing Arkham Horror much sooner than this Chapter 2 core set comes out in the spring, because we have a Drowned City campaign underway that we're having a ton of fun with. So looking forward to continuing that. And also we have that, I teased it last time, but so yeah, we'll need to reevaluate this, but I think I'm still going to publish it for now. We have that new series of Power Curve where we're ranking every card in Arkham Horror. The weird thing about it is if we're putting out an episode of that every few weeks, because we're doing about 10 cards at a time, it's going to stretch well past Chapter 2, and then will anyone, including us, care anymore, or will we all just be playing and want to talk about the new hotness? I haven't decided, but those videos are fun. They're going to be coming out soon, so check those out on the channel as well. And thank you again for watching. Till next time, be optimal.